Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. One of them is going to be about BitMine raising $250 million to buy Ethereum and start doing so with the Michael Saylor strategy. We're seeing this come out more and more often, and this company is choosing to do so with Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. I've also got another headline. We'll dive into that one after we get you prepped for some success today. I've got that stock heat map pulled up. Like always, we're seeing a little bit of green in the stock market this morning. We've got Apple closed 1.29% to the upside, looking green this morning as well, up 0.77%. We've got Nvidia closing to the downside yesterday, down 2.97%. Looking quite neutral this morning though, down 0.11%. We've got Berkshire Hathaway closing to the upside, up 0.79, and looking quite neutral this morning, up 0.1%. We've got Amazon closing to the upside as well, up 0.49%, up 0.25% this morning. We've got Eli Lilly closing to the downside yesterday, down 0.47, up 0.1% this morning. We've got ExxonMobil up 1.34%, and looking like some decent buying pressure coming in this morning, up 0.46. We've got Tesla closing to the downside yesterday after all that drama continued, looking like it's opening in the green this morning, up 1.09% after we got a little bit of a cool down on that Trump-Musk feud. We do have PNG closing to the upside from yesterday, 1.19%, looking quite neutral this morning though, down 0.01%. We've got Microsoft closing to the downside, 1.08%, looking to the downside this morning, down 0.28%. We've got Google closing to the downside as well, looking quite neutral this morning though, down 0.06%. And we've got Meta to wrap that on out, down 2.56% from yesterday, looking quite neutral with no change on the board this morning. We've got the crypto side of things looking just as mixed as the TradFi side. Let's scroll it on down. Get into this because we are seeing a little bit of some upside momentum this morning. We've got Bitcoin up 1%, Ethereum with no change on the board, XRP down 0.6%, BNB up 0.9%, Solana up 0.1%. We've got Tron sitting up 8% right now, Dogecoin up 0.1%. We've got Cardano down 0.7%, Hyperliquid down 0.6%, Bitcoin Cash sitting down 3.1% after some nice upside momentum for it. We've got SWI sitting up 0.4%, Chainlink down 0.3%. We've got Leo token down 2% right now, Avalanche sitting up 0.1%. We've got Stellar Lumens down 1.9%. We've got TON sitting down 0.7%. Shiba Inu up 1.1%. And to wrap out that top 20, we got Litecoin sitting down 2% right now. For the fear and greeds, we are continuing to cool off. Not too unexpected. TradFi markets did see a little bit of some up, a little bit of some down. Overall, we did see a decent amount of sell-off, and we're down 4 points to 61 and greed. For the crypto side of things, also sitting at some light greed. We did see that nice liquidity sweep to the bottom side that we talked about yesterday, and now we're sitting at 63 and greed, looking a little bit towards the upside with some top side liquidity. I guess we gotta refresh this one. Here we go. Get that daily look pulled up for you. And we got all that liquidity still sitting at 108,600 here, ranging all the way up to 108,800. These are the levels we keep talking about here on Good Morning Crypto. And those are the levels I'd kind of look for if we can get that continuation towards the upside today. We do have that 3-day looking quite similar with that liquidity sitting at 108,800. Zoom it on out. Take a look at that 1 week. Looking quite similar with the liquidity at 108,800. Zoom this on out. Take a look at that 1 month real quick. And we've got quite a bit of liquidity towards the top side there. This is quite a bit higher though, with that liquidity sitting at $110,000. Let's hop back over to TradingView, take a look at that economic calendar, because we did have some data that came out of the European Union this morning. That unemployment rate did increase just a little bit from 6.2% to 6.3% this morning out of the US. 7 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll be getting that 30-year mortgage rate. Nothing on that forecast, but I would expect things to remain quite stable there. Scrolling on down just a little bit, we get ADP employment change at 8:15 Eastern Time. That will be a decent market mover, looking like a massive increase there. Does bode well for a little bit of some downside action, because that's the opposite of what you want to see if you're expecting a rate cut. Scrolling on down just a little bit more, we get that crude oil information coming out at 10:30 Eastern Time. And then scrolling on down just a little bit farther, we get the balance of trade coming out of Australia. That'll be that big one coming for that Asia trading time zone. And we got the Bank of Japan Takata speech, something else to keep your eye on. Let's get over to that Bitcoin chart. Say good morning to the chat. We've got Kyle Fields in here with the yo, and he even said that there. Kyle Fields in here with the yo. Good morning to you. We got K Diggity in here as well. And good morning to you lurkers in the background. And we've got one person over on X. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning so far. As you can see, we're getting a little bit of some upside momentum after a nice sweep of the bottom side. We are getting a little bit of sideways momentum here on both the MACD and our Prime Oscillator. Prime Oscillator just switched to red here on the daily, and we've got that red money flow coming in. True 7 on its way down. Volume still remaining quite low, so we are waiting for that switch of money flow from the short-term time frame into the daily time frame. If not, look for some continued sideways momentum. We might get that move back up, sweep some of that liquidity, and then continue in our sideways range here. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at that 4 hour, because that 4 hour does look like you could potentially see that continuation if you have the money flow. That's why we will continue to watch that money flow, because money flow did get quite nice here into the green. We are looking like we might see that potentially slow down here when we zoom that on in. We are seeing a little bit of resistance on this 4 hour candle right now. We've got a little bit of a seller's wick on the top. We will kind of have to see if that continues or if we can continue back up towards this resistance up at about $108,000 and 800. You do have that prime oscillator sitting in the red here. It did get its reversal signal, but we're still sitting in the red here with volume decreasing. So waiting on that volume to come back in with the money flow, because the money flow is still quite low here. Not looking like anything too special just yet. We do have the holiday at the end of the week, so waiting for a little bit of some upside and some sideways momentum. We do have this 1 hour candle starting a little bit red, as you do have that overbought signal that just flashed. Your money flow sitting in the red here on the hourly, and that's where we're talking about watching that money flow. If this does bleed over into the 4 hour, instead of being that nice green money flow bleeding over into our higher term time frames, we might start seeing some resistance up at the top side here. We do have that overbought signal that has flashed. MACD still on its way up, but prime oscillator getting that curvature here. 15-minute and the morning looking like things are a little bit toppy, but that doesn't mean we can't continue to the upside. We do have that prime oscillator with a few bearish divergences stacked up, but money flow just starting to pick up here on the 15-minute with some nice solid volume as well. So waiting to see if we can get back above this resistance area and then turn that into some support. If not, this would be some strong resistance coming in at above that $108,000 mark to send us back down, where we did have some liquidity that was residing way down here in our fair value gap that is still remaining open. This is that $102,000 mark to $97,500. And I still have some orders set in this area. Did not end up getting picked up when we did that nice sweep to the downside down here. We left that fair value gap open. So if we do start seeing some resistance here, you could potentially make our way back down to that $106,000 mark. See if we can hold that up as some support. And if not, we do have that fair value gap that's still open to fill. All right, let's hop over to some of the news this morning. If you have any alt requests for me, go ahead, drop them in the chat, and we will take a look at those assets. This is that first news article I wanted to touch on. BitMine raises $250 million to become the strategy of Ethereum as stock soars 700%. Let's scroll it on down, get into the meat and potatoes of the article. As the institution demands for Ethereum continues to rise, one public company is betting big on being the first to build a treasury strategy around Ethereum. BitMine's Immersion Technologies, BMNR, once a low-profile Bitcoin mining firm, is now shifting gears to accumulate Ethereum on its balance sheet, mirroring the approach MicroStrategy, now Strategy, took with Bitcoin. BitMine bets big on Ethereum with a $250 million treasury pivot. BMNR, chaired by Fundstrat co-founder Tom Lee, raised $250 million in a private placement. It will use those funds to begin accumulating Ethereum, marking one of the most significant corporate pivots in 2025. The funding round raised at $4.50 per share, including participation from traditional finance and crypto-native heavyweights including Founders Fund, Pantera Capital, Galaxy Digital, and Kraken. The deal is expected to close on July 3rd. BitMine plans to transition from its roots in Bitcoin mining to a new model centered around holding and generating yield from Ethereum. The goal is to become the largest publicly traded ETH holder. Lee described the strategy as building the strategy of Ethereum, emphasizing Ethereum's income potential through staking and DeFi mechanisms, advantages Bitcoin doesn't offer. BitMine stock rises on the news. A key shareholder metric will be ETH per share, a performance measure that will grow with Ethereum's price appreciation and through on-chain cash flows from staking and restaking and DeFi yield loops. Lee argues that Ethereum's dominance in stablecoins, tokenized assets, and DeFi infrastructure makes it a more dynamic treasury asset. We'll kind of have to see how this one plays out. Their stock did get that 700% move towards the upside off of this news, and we'll kind of have to see if people remain as bullish as they were off of that initial news drop. I do think you will see some downside action on their stock price, but this is the first company to start with the Ethereum strategy, and we'll just have to watch how this plays out. I do think the Bitcoin strategy might outperform this Ethereum strategy. We got Mark Dutch in the chat. Good morning to you. He said, Darren sent me here. He promised me things. I don't know what he promised to you, but we do have a little bit of an announcement at the end of the show. So stay tuned. It'll be an easy entry to our giveaway, and I hope to see y'all at tomorrow's show, where we will announce that winner. It'll be a super easy entry as well, just commenting on this video, and I'll let you know at the end how you enter that contest. All right, we did have Elon Musk eases feud with Trump, saying credit where credit is due. And this is part of why you're seeing that nice upside momentum on Tesla this morning. So definitely seeing a little bit of a cool down. I don't know if they're just doing it for the market's sake, buying in at the lows, getting those nice decent buying prices, because these feuds really do have a large impact on the market. Elon Musk has appeared to ease his feuds with President Donald Trump after praising his foreign policy achievements. The CEO of Tesla and SpaceX said Trump should get credit where credit is due after the White House announced that Israel had agreed to a 60-day ceasefire with Gaza. Why it matters. Since he left the White House at the end of May, Musk's relationship with Trump has soured significantly. He has become a vocal critic of Trump's big, beautiful bill, which he believes will increase the U.S. national debt and negate the savings he said he had achieved through Doge. The praise for Trump could be an olive branch from Musk during a tense moment in their dynamic. What to know? Credit where credit is due. Donald Trump has successfully resolved several serious conflicts around the world, Musk wrote on X. The praise comes from Trump's announced on Tuesday that Israel had agreed to a ceasefire deal that would put Hamas after consultation with other actors in the Middle East. My representatives had a long and productive meeting with the Israelis today on Gaza, Trump said in a statement. Israel has agreed to a necessary conditions to finalize the 60-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. Trump said Qatar and Egypt would present the final proposals to Hamas. Despite the praise, Musk remains strongly opposed to Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which he had branded as disgusting abomination and political suicide. On Monday, Musk said the Republican lawmakers who campaigned on cutting federal spending but backed Trump's bill should hang their heads in shame. Musk also said he would form a new political party and work to oust in primaries any congressional Republicans who had said they were for cutting government spending but then voted in favor of the bill. So still a little bit out of feud, but cooling down just a little bit, throwing them some praise, and we're seeing some upside momentum on that Tesla stock off of the news. I see Darren Does Things in here. Good morning to you. And I see Archbit in here as well. Good morning to you as well. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Let's get you prepped for some more success today and take a look at some of these assets. I didn't have any alt requests asked for just yet. If you do have any alt requests you'd like me to take a look at, go ahead, drop those in the chat. I was looking at gold this morning. We did get that nice strong bounce off of the 382 down here, which I did talk about after we lost that 236. We're back up to the 236 here, waiting to see if we can get some green money flow in here. We are at a very indecisive point here on both the MACD and the prime oscillator as money flow switches very briefly from green to red to green to red to green, and we've got your MACD running sideways here. Prime oscillator with some curvature towards the upside, remaining in light red as the volume remains quite low. We do have that reversal signal that has flashed, but we really need to get back above $3,400 and turn that into some support where we saw all of these rejections here before I can get a little bit bullish on gold. This is a nice little potential for a shift back towards the upside, but we are seeing some resistance at the 236 there. Let's zoom this on in, take a look at the hourly and see what we're looking at there, because we do see that nice sideways momentum right under the 236 here with some strong support around $3,325, where the MACD and the prime oscillator are looking quite similar to that higher term time frame. We've got that sideways momentum here on the MACD, waiting for that cross back towards the upside with that money flow sitting positively in the green, but that volume slowing down quite a bit. We've got that prime oscillator getting that nice curvature back towards the upside here, but we'll really need to get above this short-term time frame, $3,335, before we can try to reclaim that $3,400 mark. So kind of waiting to see if we can get that increase of volume and increase of money flow here this morning. Let's see. Archbait saying good start so far. Let's see if we can take 108,500 and hold. That's an area we talked about at the beginning of the show, looking to potentially sweep that top side liquidity at 108,800. We've got quite a bit of liquidity up there on both the 1 day, the 3 day, and our 1 week time frame. Let's see. Every Coke and Pepsi needs an RC Cola, says Kyle Fields. Hey, I don't drink soda, so if I did though, I'm cheap and I would probably be drinking that RC Cola. Let's see. There he is, says Dutchy, talking about Darren does things in the chat, dropping that otter emoji. Good morning, good morning. Let me send that one back to you. Do we have any alt requests for the day? If so, go ahead, drop them in the chat. We will take a look at that. I was looking at Circle this morning. Let me get back over to that chart because I was taking a look at something else I was looking at. We are seeing that upside momentum here. We did talk about wanting to see some support coming in at $177. Got that nice double bottoming there. Did get a little bit of a sweep of liquidity on the bottom side with this nice buyer's wick coming in on that 1 hour candle, and now we're pushing our way back up to the 382. We do have this CME gap, which might be a little bit of resistance up at almost $200, coming in a little short. 199 is going to be that bottom side of our old CME gap that I'd potentially look for as some resistance. You do have that prime oscillator and MACD both getting curvature back towards the upside here, but the thing to watch is going to be this money flow, because zoom this on in, that money flow is still in the red here, waiting to see if we can get that switch on a shorter term time frame. This volume is increasing with the money flow still being in the red, looking like you might continue to see some resistance on our top side. We did have that bottom side target we dropped in the Discord being 163 that I'd look at doing some more buying at. So if we do see that resistance coming on in here at the 382, look back down towards the 50% line on our fib retracement there and see if we can find some support there. If we do not hold that as some support, we do have this old CME gap coming in at 147 all the way down to 134. That'd be an area to watch for if you are unable to maintain that 50% line on our fib. Let's see. Kyle Field saying, I drink Stevia when I drink any kind of Coke. I don't know about that one. So, maybe it's better. As I said, I don't drink any soda. So, let's, let's hop on over to that other asset I was looking at for the morning. I talked about it a while ago. It is Serve Robotics. I know it's down here somewhere. Let's get over to this one. We got Serve coming in, seeing some resistance at $12.88. That is kind of what I was expecting. We did see that come back in as some resistance there. Got that nice wick in action to sweep any liquidity that was above here, and then we're heading back down. Saw that resistance at the 382, and now we're waiting to see if we can find some support all over again at our 236. We are waiting to see if we get back down there, if we hold that area. That'll be another area I do some more buying at, because $9.42 is quite a discount on Serve Robotics. They are making some robo taxis for Uber and for Uber Eats. They will be testing those in Florida coming here at the end of the year. Let's zoom this on out. Take a look at that one day, because that one day is looking quite indecisive here. You've got that MACD remaining below our indicator line, getting that a little bit of some curvature here to the downside, but your prime oscillator getting that nice sideways momentum as money flow is just starting to get back in the green, but your volume has slowed down quite a bit. So waiting to see if we can get that continuation back a little bit lower, sweep any liquidity that might be residing below there, and find some support at the 236, and then try to get back above $12.88. For me, this is a longer term hold, because I do have some faith in what this company is doing, and they've got cash reserves till 2026. So waiting to see what Serve does in the short time. Might be doing some more buying. If I do some more buying, I will definitely let you know. All right, let's hop over to the crypto side of things, because we did see some nice upside momentum on some of these assets in the past few days. We got Donato Cabrera in here saying good morning, VC. Good morning to you, Donato Cabrera. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's hop over to Bitcoin Cash, because we talked about that one over and over again. We did see that potential for some upside, and we got very, very, very strong upside momentum on Bitcoin Cash. We did see that nice strong bounce off of the golden pocket here. We got that nice strong bounce off of the golden pocket, went up to that 382, got that nice strong bounce off of the 50%, and now we're trying to see if we can get above the 382. That is going to be that next real barrier to get above. We've got some potential resistance coming in at about $560 that I'd kind of watch for. If we can get above the 382, turn it into some support. This higher term time frame is getting a little bit toppy here, as we're seeing that next curvature here. We did get that nice curvature and a bounce off of our indicator line, potentially looking for that curvature to break below our indicator line for now, and then try to reconfirm some support at the 50% line all over again before we get that stronger bounce towards the upside. Prime oscillator is getting that curvature as well. Volume's still low, and we're waiting on money flow to come back in. That's going to be that big thing on a lot of these alts. We're waiting on some money flow. Let's scroll this on in, take a look at that 1 hour and see what the 1 hour is bringing our way here. And that 1 hour does look like we are rejecting off of that 382. Waiting for that money flow to kind of confirm things, but MACD and prime oscillator both getting that curvature back down here, as volume remains quite low here on the 1 hour as well. You did have an oversold signal coming in when we saw these lows made here, but we are starting to make those lower highs, waiting to see if we can get below that $489 mark, which we saw all of this support coming in at. If we do, would look quite a bit lower towards this 50% line on the fib retracement there. Let's see what that 15-minute in the morning are bringing our way here, because that one also looking quite similar to that 1 hour with some decent downside potential. I would expect to see a little bit of a bounce here to kind of cool this prime oscillator off just a bit and continue to the downside. That MACD looking quite heavily towards the downside as we broke both our indicator line and our zero line here, and that prime oscillator sitting quite low towards the bottom side with our volume remaining quite low as well. So if we do see that pickup of volume, but it's not coming with that green money flow, would really look back down towards the downside where we have that potential area for some hold up at 488. I see Curtis Hill in here. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's take a look at another asset we were looking at for the morning, and of course you know that's gonna be ADA. Jesse's not in the chat, but I'm always prepared with some ADA because everyone seems to like that project. We did see that nice move back down towards our platinum pocket here, waiting to see if we can get that money flow coming back in, because volume has slowed down quite a bit here on the 4 hour. We did have that reversal signal flash on our prime oscillator, getting that curvature back towards the upside. MACD also getting that curvature back towards the upside, but we are waiting on money flow. We're starting to see some exhaustion wicks coming in on these 4 hour candles, waiting to see if that really comes back into play and pushes us back down towards that platinum pocket. If we lose that, we got that strong support at 51 cents. Let's zoom that on in. Take a look at that 1 hour, because that 1 hour also looking like it's getting that curvature here, but curvature towards the downside. We do have that MACD trying to break that zero line here. Your histograms are starting to print those smaller green candles, and that prime oscillator also getting that curvature as volume's just starting to increase. So we'll have to watch to see if that money flow comes in with some nice green momentum here on the 15-minute. Let's see if that 15-minute in the morning do bode for some upside potential here once we find a little bit of some support, because we do have two bearish divergences that have stacked up. Your MACD has broken to the bottom side of our indicator line, and that prime oscillator also heading back down as the volume slows up just a bit. We do have an area directly to the bottom side of us at about 55 cents where we could potentially come back down to look for some support before we try to make that move back up to 57 cents, which we talked about yesterday. I am still waiting to see if we can turn 58 cents 58.5 cents into some support. That's where we saw all of our resistance up here, and then really make our way back up to 62 cents. ADA has been enjoying this sideways range quite a bit. We've got our bottom side coming in at 51 cents, waiting to see if we can get back up towards the top side of 62 cents there. All right, it is 5:18. Let's see if we can find something else for you to take a look at for today. We did have BNB, which was making some moves towards the upside as well. I know OC loves to trade this one. Let's zoom this one out. Take a look at that 1 day, because that 1 day is faltering quite a bit at the same area all over again. That's going to be that 236 on our fib retracement. This has held up quite nicely on that 50% line over and over here, and waiting to see if we can at least confirm this 382 as some support, as we're seeing this 236 come in as some resistance. You do have that MACD and prime oscillator looking a little bit towards the upside, but prime oscillator starting to get that sideways momentum as money flow just switched towards the red and your volume has slowed down quite a bit, and that MACD also getting a sideways momentum. So looking like we might be seeing that resistance all over again at the 382, at the 236, because we're making some lower highs and we've made some lower lows as well. This does have the potential to kind of switch things, but we would need to get above the 236 first. Zoom this on in. Take a look at that 1 hour, not the 2 hour, the 1 hour there. Zoom this on in. There we go. Seeing a little bit of some potential for that support here at the 236, but I would like to see us run a little bit higher. Your MACD and prime oscillator both getting that curvature here. Money flow still in the red, so would need to watch that money flow quite heavily to see if that money flow comes back into the green. Volume just starting to pick up. Overbought signals have flashed, and waiting to see if we get that continuation with some confirmation at the 236. I did see that request for arrow. We can get that looked at in just a second here. 15-minute also looking quite toppy like the rest of everything was, with that curvature back towards the downside. MACD line breaking to the bottom side of our indicator line. Prime oscillator getting that curvature back down as well, but money flow sitting in the green here, waiting to see if we can get that next push back up on it. We do have that area of some potential support coming in at about $651 if we break to the bottom side of that 236. Let's get arrow looked at. We got AERO. Let's look at it on Coinbase. I don't think I've ever taken a look at arrow, so let's zoom this all the way out here. Let's see what we got on that very high term time frame. There's a weekly, making some nice moves towards the upside. Made a higher low here, so waiting to see if we can get that money flow coming back in. Let's get a little bit of a fib drawn out here from the highs to the low. Looking like we're gonna do some battle with that 236 there. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at that daily looking like we saw that resistance at the 236, waiting to come back in and confirm that as some support here. So we do have that potential for some upside if we can confirm this 236 as some support. Let's get another fib drawn out from the lows here to the absolute highs. Looking like that's golden pocket is where we rejected off of there. Let's hide that one. Golden pocket was some resistance there, waiting to see if we can really hold up that midline area that we had talked about there, that was coming in at that shorter term time frame fib. Looking like this golden pocket is a bit of some strong resistance though, so seeing us come back down to the platinum pocket, confirm it as some support here on the higher term time frame would be a nice move to watch for. But we'll have to zoom that on in, take a look at that shorter term time frame. Let's get that one drawn back up, hide that higher term time frame, and see what we're looking at here on our hourly. Doing some battle with that 236, waiting on some money flow to come back in here. We've got that MACD breaking our indicator line, waiting to break that zero line here. We've got a reversal signal that has flashed, money flow in the red, so waiting to see if we come back down just a little bit, confirm this 69.4 as some support here to get that nice strong momentum back towards the upside. You are making some lower highs, but you are continuing to make higher lows here. So we do have that potential for a sweep of liquidity before we get that stronger move towards the upside. Let's get that let's get those lines drawn out there. We've got that top side and the bottom side looking quite flat here, but nice constriction on that price action. So would look for potentially breaking a little bit lower to sweep that liquidity if that money flow remains in the red. Let's take a look at the 15-minute and see what the morning might be bringing our way here. Getting those nice strong bounces off of our support, waiting to see if we can get back above that 236 there. You do have all of this curvature here on our prime oscillator and MACD. Money flow briefly in the green here on a 15-minute, getting that curvature back to the downside though. Volume quite nice here on arrow, but we've got these reversal signals that have flashed, a bearish divergence that has come into call. So waiting to see if we can get above that 236. If not, look back down here at our support area, and if we do see this support area break, I would look for that sweep back below about 68 cent, about that 68 cent point, where we see the potential for a bunch of liquidity to be residing below all the lows, and then try to get back up above that 236. So that kind of be what I'd look for on arrow on the short to medium time frame. I didn't see any alt requests. I hope that helps you out, Curtis Hill. I appreciate you, Mark Dutch, saying subscribe, smash that like button. It's free, no KYC required, and no additional tariffs just yet. I don't think there'll ever be tariffs on that one. All right, no other alt requests I'm seeing. We can try to take a look at something random, something I haven't looked at in forever. Scrolling on down to my favorites. Maybe it's not in the favorites there. Is it sitting up here? Nope. It's gotta be in those favorites. We'll just take a look at it here. We got near, something I haven't looked at in quite a while. There we go. Near, finding that potential for some support coming in at $2.14. But let's zoom this on out to the daily, see what we're looking at. Got that nice strong rejection off of our platinum pocket, made some very equal lows, so potential for a sweep of those very equal lows before we get that stronger move back towards the upside. We did reject off of all the levels I've been watching on near, but waiting to see if we can get that strong money flow coming back in. Volume is extremely low. You've got that MACD and prime oscillator both waiting to see if we get this bullish divergence to play out here, as we are making a little bit of a higher high here. But if we do get that short-term money flow in the red, then would look for that push down to sweep that bottom side liquidity. That'd be about 175. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at that 1 hour. 1 hour looking like it might be rejecting off of our area, which we had potentially been looking at as some support there. Got that nice sweep below. Got very equal lows here as well at about $2.02. That'd be an area to kind of watch for a sweep as well, to potentially see if we can get back above $2.14. We have AMP requested. Let's take a look at some AMP. I don't think I've looked at it in quite a while, if ever. Let's see on Coinbase naked chart. So let's zoom it on out. Take a look at that super high time frame. See what we'd be looking at there. Dang, quite battered down there. Looking like we're at least holding up our short-term areas here at 0027. Let's get that horizontal drawn out, and where we see all of that support coming on in here. We are bouncing up against it right now. Let's get a fib drawn out for our short-term time frame from the low to the high there. Looking like that platinum pocket is a little bit of a resistance area, but we do have that nice strong support right below us. Let's get that drawn out a little bit better. There we go. We got that nice strong support right below us at 00278, which we could potentially watch for a little bit of some holding up of price action, as we do see both that MACD and prime oscillator getting that curvature back up. Your volume is just starting to pick up here on the higher term time frame, and your money flow still in the green. Let's get this zoomed on in, take a look at that hourly here and see what the day might be bringing our way. We gotta really zoom this one on in. Making some lower highs, potential for us to really make some higher highs here if we can sweep some of this liquidity here. Made some very equal lows here at about 003, and that's where we'd kind of look for price to come back down to, as we do see the money flow heavily in the red here on the hourly, as volume's just starting to pick up. So might be some selling volume that does head back our way. We do have that potential for that support at 00278, like I was talking about. Shorter term time frame, let's take a look at the 15-minute and what the morning might be bringing our way. Looking like it's quite toppy here as well. Got that curvature here on the prime oscillator. MACD prime oscillator has 2 bearish divergences which have stacked up, 3 reversal signals have flashed, and that prime oscillator heading on its way back down as money flow just went into the red. So potential for that bottom side liquidity sweep below here before we try to make our move back towards the upside. All right, it is 5:31. Time to head over to that morning motivational video. I've got that redirect all set up for you, and I will see y'all there in just a second. Before we head over there, after this video ends, if you drop Bitcoin is freedom in the comments, you'll be entered for our giveaway. I will announce the winner tomorrow, and we'll be doing a $50 USDT giveaway. So after the video ends, drop that Bitcoin is freedom in the comments. I will see y'all at the rest of the shows here on the Piper Academy. We got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and we've got markets after dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure to wake up, because today's going to be a good day.